I'm your host, Dave Thomas, and that guitar is Eric Nash, and this is Pansophical Podcast. Catch up on all our episodes by visiting pansophicalpodcast.com/episodes. We're also on Apple Podcasts and YouTube at Pansophical Podcast. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, follow, share, because your engagement is the only thing that keeps us on the air. This is Expat Escape. As a survivor of child sexual abuse, escaping, that's something I learned from being hunted by sexual predators. I'm 70 now, and it's amazing how it still haunts me. Psychotherapy transformed me into a very resilient super survivor. I share what I survived with others who experienced my type of trauma to live a better life. Living a great life, that's the ultimate revenge, and it's very empowering. The world was a different place in the late 50s and 60s with a lot less people, and life felt affordable enough to exist, to, have a house, a car, and a vacation. The world was a clean place still. I swam in the South Pacific, and the visibility, as a kid, the visibility was over 600 feet. The water was so clear, I couldn't see it. I experienced the fear of falling. It was so clean. It was a paradise. But it wasn't safe. Now, I don't know, everything is too fast to keep an eye on, too taxing to envision. We haven't evolved for this. It was thrust on us by money. At 12, I'd escaped twice, but I never felt safe. The world then was huge. People trusted people that shouldn't be trusted. Single men that didn't fit in or seemingly divine protectors, were wolves in sheep's clothing. At 12, my adrenal glands were constantly on full power and continued that way for 29 years till I got therapy. My brain literally stopped making serotonin at like 15 years old. For 25 years, I wasn't happy. No serotonin, no feel good. I just kept pretending nothing had happened. I never talked about it. I knew that mimicking could keep me safe, that I could find ways to not be trapped. After that, I knew it could happen again at any second. I was small. Escape plan scenarios ran my day, and they woke me up. It kind of never stops in some ways. I am what I lived, and more. Flight or fight was much of my childhood, mostly flight. I still have one eye on my 6, 24/7, 365. It's a habit I'll have to my last breath. I notice everything. I use that to my advantage. Now I constantly ask myself, what am I missing? Every minute, what am I missing? Fun is my answer to everything. I force myself to have fun. I take care of me like I would somebody special. I verbally debrief anger out loud when alone. I embrace the weird and new. That is my normal. I process anger very fast. I have no time for it. Every minute of anger takes 10 minutes or more to get rid of it. Anger has two choices: stay mad or get madder. Anger is the poster child of the spin of disaster. Anger is a red flag. I go out of my way for anything that I think is fun. I watch silly stuff like funny cat videos or spend time in nature. There's always something special going on in nature. I treat myself like I'm unique, special. I don't compare myself to anyone. We're all different. We all have different experiences. I'm playing my game of life so magic can happen like continually. I learned to keep my cool on, take a breath, hold it, let it go. Every minute is new time. Resetting my brain and heart, that gives me advantages I can use to make my life even better. How I got here from there, and how I made a living, and the lessons I learned because I thought outside the box is what I mean to talk about. There's no way to get around trauma. But now that you have the intel on that, you can judge my process from then to now. When I was 11, I knew I wanted to be a movie star. But by the time I got to Hollywood 9 years later, and after spending time with some amazing famous people, plus I had a list of things to do that had nothing to do with showbiz. I mean, I learned so many things that had nothing to do with entertainment or art making. All were things that I was interested in or had something to do with art in some way or entertainment in some way, but relationships are my greatest treasures. Entertainment is one of those creative collaborations that cares only about the highest level of production values. Everybody wants the best, and nobody cares how you pull it off. Everyone does their own way. And I worked with a lot of actors and crews that used alcohol or smoking weed specifically because it gave them the guts to be honest, believable, and impactful. You know, acting is searching for a life-changing level of performance. Same species, different approaches to success. Nothing is wrong. It's just a different approach. That's the thing about being human. I mean, we're all the same species, yet no one experiences the same perspective. I realized I never wanted to be a movie star. I knew too many, and most weren't happy or satisfied. That horrified me. I mean, voiceover was cool, and no one needed or knew who I was. Voiceover led me to Pansophical Podcasts, and that led me to leaving my country of origin. Living everywhere in LA for 51 years, I eventually became sick of people living under or over or next to me. People everywhere, no sense of privacy. So I moved constantly to cheap housing that would become cool and then gentrified and then have to move again. I missed nature, and I don't know, Yosemite seemed like the perfect fit, the perfect spot. I mean, I knew the mountain had predators, but the worst were of the human persuasion, populated with red hats and no tolerance for tolerance. I'd been living there a couple of years, and I'd made friends, and I started doing a radio podcast on the town radio station. I'll never forget getting that text on my phone on my 13th show, I was interviewing this really well-known journalist, professor, nonfiction author about the upcoming election. We both disliked Orange candidates' plan for America, and I read this text. Now you went and done it. You pissed off your neighbors. I can see you through my crosshairs, clear as day, sitting there reading. We don't want you here. That was the moment I knew I needed to be an expat. Thanks for listening to Pansophical Podcast. Pump the brakes. For updates on my latest expat adventures, follow us on Instagram at Pansophical Podcast. All Pansophical Podcast episodes are available in 3 places. On our website, pansophicalpodcast.com/episodes, on Apple Podcasts, and on YouTube at Pansophical Podcast. Please don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, or follow. And if you loved what you heard and you want to make a donation, go to pansophicalpodcast.com/donate right now. Every contribution helps us make better stories, better music, and a groovy Pansophy.